Her eyes found mine across the crowded diplomatic hall, and I forgot how to breathe. She wasn't supposed to notice me. I was just a junior translator, one of dozens pressed against the walls, while the Valanthi delegation glided through like sharks through still water. But she stopped mid-stride, her silver-white hair cascading over armor that seemed grown rather than forged, and she smiled. That smile. It pulled at her lips slowly, deliberately, revealing teeth just slightly too sharp for comfort. Her violet eyes never blinked. I looked away first. Of course I did. "You," she said, and the single word cut through the ambient noise like a blade. The crowd parted. She was walking toward me. "You were staring." My throat closed. Up close, she was taller than I'd realized. 7 feet at least, her presence filling the space around her like a gravitational field. Her skin held an iridescent quality, shifting between pale blue and silver, depending on the light. "I apologize, Commander. I'd done my homework. Knew the ranks, the titles. I meant no disrespect. Disrespect." She tilted her head, that predatory smile widening. I felt your gaze like a touch. On my neck. My spine. She leaned closer, and I caught her scent, something like ozone and night-blooming flowers. "Tell me, little translator, do you always look at dangerous things with such hunger?" My heart hammered against my ribs. "I wasn't, you were." Her finger, tipped with a claw that could open my throat, traced along my jaw. "Not cutting. Not yet. I've killed men for less." I should have been terrified. I was terrified. But beneath the fear, something else stirred. Something that made me hold her gaze instead of dropping it. "Then why haven't you?" I heard myself ask. Her eyes widened. Loss of control. Surprise? Delight? And she laughed. Low, dangerous, intimate. "Perhaps I'm curious," she murmured. "Perhaps I want to see what else you'll do." She turned and walked away, leaving me shaking against the wall. But she looked back. Once. And that smile made my blood run cold. 3 days later, I was reassigned. "Personal translator for Commander Sirath," my supervisor said, not meeting my eyes. "Congratulations. Try not to die." The Valanthi flagship was a cathedral of black metal and bioluminescent panels. I was escorted to her quarters, not an office, and left standing in a room that smelled like her. "You came." She emerged from shadows I hadn't noticed, wearing less armor now. A flowing garment that left her arms bare, revealed the subtle scales along her shoulders. She held a glass of something dark. "I was ordered to come, were you?" She circled me slowly. I forced myself not to turn, not to track her movement, even as every instinct screamed predator. "I requested you, but you could have refused. Your people allow that, do they?" She stopped in front of me, close enough that I could see the pulse in her throat. "You're afraid of me." "Yes." "But you're here." "Yes." She offered me the glass. Our fingers brushed as I took it, and electricity shot up my arm. Her pupils dilated. "Drink with me, little translator. I want to know what makes a human stare at death and refuse to look away." The liquid burned, going down, sweet and sharp. By the 3rd glass, the room had softened at the edges. By the 5th, I was sitting on something that might have been a couch, and she was beside me, closer than protocol allowed. "Your people," she said, her voice lower now, rougher. "They think us monsters. Some do, and you." I looked at her, really looked. The elegant violence of her form. The intelligence burning in those violet eyes. The loneliness she hid behind teeth and claws. "I think you're the most terrifying thing I've ever seen," I said. The alcohol had loosened my tongue. "And I can't stop thinking about you." Silence. Her expression flickered. Loss of control. Vulnerability. Hunger. Dangerous words, she whispered. I could destroy you for saying them. I know. Her hand found my chest, pressed flat against my racing heart. You mean them? Yes. She leaned in, her lips brushing my ear. Then you're either very brave or very foolish. I haven't decided which. Maybe both. Her laugh vibrated through me. Maybe both. She pulled back, and I saw something in her eyes I couldn't name. Something that scared me more than her claws ever could. Sleep, she said, standing abruptly. Tomorrow, we begin your real education. I woke alone, head pounding, with the taste of her still on my lips. What had I said? What had I done? And why did I want to do it again? The weeks blurred together. I translated for her in meetings, stood at her shoulder while she negotiated with admirals and ambassadors. I learned her moods, the slight tension in her jaw before anger, the softening around her eyes when something amused her. I learned that she took her morning drink scalding hot, that she read human poetry in secret, that she sometimes stood at the viewport for hours, watching stars. I learned that when she looked at me, something in my chest cracked open. They're talking about us, I told her one evening. We were alone in her quarters, as we often were now. The line between professional and personal had blurred beyond recognition. Let them talk. They say you're keeping me as a pet. A toy. I swallowed. They say you'll kill me when you're bored. She went still. That dangerous stillness I'd learned to recognize. Is that what you believe? I don't know what to believe. I turned to face her. You've never told me what this is, what I am to you. What do you want to be? That's not an answer. She moved faster than I could track, and suddenly I was pressed against the wall, her body a cage around mine. Her claws dimpled the metal beside my head. You want answers? Her voice was a growl. You want me to name this thing between us? To make it safe? Contained? I want to know if I'm walking towards something real or walking into a trap. Her eyes searched mine. For a long moment, neither of us breathed. My people don't love the way yours do, she said finally. We claim. We possess. We consume. Her hand found my throat, not squeezing, just resting there, feeling my pulse. If I claimed you, you would be mine. Completely. There would be no going back. And if I refused, then I would let you go. Something fractured in her expression, and I would never speak of this again. I should have been afraid. I was afraid. But I was also standing at the edge of something vast and unknown, and I realized I didn't want to step back. What if I don't want to go? Her breath caught. For the first time since I'd known her, Commander Sirith looked uncertain. You don't know what you're saying. Then show me. The kiss, when it came, was nothing like I expected. Gentle, almost reverent. Her claws cradled my face like I was something precious, something she was afraid to break. When she pulled back, her eyes were wet. Foolish human, she whispered. Brave, foolish human. The assassination attempt came 3 nights later. I woke to screaming alarms and Sirith's weight, pinning me to the bed. Something hissed past where my head had been. Stay down, she snarled, and then she was moving, a blur of silver and violence. I heard impacts, screams, the wet sound of claws finding flesh. Then, silence. She stood in the center of the room, surrounded by bodies. Her own blood dripped from a wound in her side, but she didn't seem to notice. Her eyes found mine, wild and desperate. Are you hurt? No. Sirith, you're bleeding. She crossed the room in 2 strides and pulled me against her, her whole body shaking. They came for you. My enemies. They came for you to hurt me. I'm okay. I'm here. I should send you away. Her voice cracked. I should send you back to your people where you'll be safe, where loving me won't get you killed. I pulled back to look at her. Blood and tears streaked her face. She looked nothing like the predator who'd smiled at me across a crowded room. She looked like someone who'd finally found something worth losing. Is that what you want? No. The word tore out of her. No. I want to keep you. I want to claim you in front of every star in the galaxy. She stopped, struggling. I want things I don't have words for. Things my people don't have names for. I touched her face, traced the line of her jaw where scales met skin. My people have a word, I said. Love. She flinched like I'd struck her. It means choosing someone, I continued. Not possessing them. Choosing them every day, even when it's hard. Even when it's terrifying. Even when it might get you killed, especially then. She stared at me for a long moment. Then, slowly, she smiled. Not the predatory smile from the diplomatic hall. Something softer. Something new. Love, she repeated, testing the word. I think I would like to learn this word, with you. I kissed her, tasting blood and salt, and something that felt like the beginning of everything. Behind us, the stars wheeled on, indifferent to the small miracle happening in their light. A human and a Valanthi, choosing each other across every divide that should have kept them apart. My people would call it madness. Her people would call it weakness. But standing there in her arms, surrounded by the bodies of those who'd tried to tear us apart, I called it something else entirely. I called it humanity. And maybe, just maybe, she was learning to call it that too.